All right, Chuck Dizzle back at it live and direct, keeping it homegrown, man. And we definitely have one of the homegrown homies, man. We were just talking off air, man. We've known each other for quite some time, couple of years. Right. But it's all divine timing, man.
Definitely, man. It's been more than a couple of years. I think like a good 5 because you came to my store grand opening, Pentagon, LA and Glendale.
And you pulled up to homegrown when we were off of Market Street, man.
That's right.
I remember. Yeah, that's when you blessed us with the Pentagon, the merch.
Yeah.
All that, bro.
I forgot about that. That's right.
Yeah, no, Armin.
Too.
Yeah, Armin in the building, man. I appreciate you being here first and foremost, man.
Thank you for having me, bro.
R-Mean, the Rising Sun, okay? The album Mean is out right now, bro.
Yeah, man.
A part of this divine timing we were talking about, man. You got some heavy hitters on the album. You got a fully produced album by Scott Storch, man. We got to get into all of this. Like, how does somebody like yourself get into these situations, bro? Because there's a lot that we could talk about.
Nah, for sure. Honestly, bro, it's just like staying consistent. Building these relationships, that's really what it's been for me, bro. Like throughout all these years, hungry, grinding, independent. I always say it's been a marathon for me. You know what I mean? Right. Slow, steady grind. And, started on the way picking up people that just really support me and want to see me win. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Being the first from like Armenian descent, I definitely have my community behind me. So a lot of people have opened doors on that end. You know what I mean? And slowly I just be introduced to a lot of people, and that's kind of how the Scott Storch thing happened, and then a lot of the features, and yeah, man, you know what I mean. But in a way, like I was ready for these opportunities when they came, though. Right. And that was the key. You know what I'm saying? Because these ain't no, amateurs. They're not just gonna do a favor for anybody. It's really like, okay, who is this guy? And then they're like, oh, okay, it's the real deal. Like,
one thing about you, bro. I mean, I obviously we've known each other for some time, but it's like I've never heard a bad thing somebody said about Armin.
Yeah, I appreciate
you
that.
have a good reputation, and I think that's more important than knowing people and cultivating that community. That's a part of it. There's no smut in your name,
right,
man.
I mean, that is a part of it. It's all about like building relationships is I don't want to say it's a skill, but it's like not everyone does it because they always think about themselves.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? But when you meet people and you know what I'm saying, like you're not right away thinking, what can I get out of this? Because that's not really what it's about. Sure. Let's just see where it goes, where the energy takes us. You know what I'm saying? And, eventually some will come for you. You know what I mean? But it just has to be the right time, right place, right person. You know what I mean? So I feel like people recognize that. Me, my whole team, we genuine, we move. You know what I mean? We move solid. We make sure that, we keep our word. These things are important. You know what I'm saying? And the same way when I meet someone, like I always very much pay attention to what they saying and what they doing. You know what I'm saying?
You blessed me. Speaking of that, one of the first times we met, you blessed me again with the Pentagon merch. And I remember wearing that in quite a few interviews, but the most notable one was Nipsey Hussle, right? And I always repost the photo. I always repost, obviously, that interview. Yeah. And I always think about that. I'm like, man, that was just so fire that, that was able to happen in that moment.
That's
you understand?
So crazy, man. I really appreciate it because I definitely noticed you was rocking it and posting it and tagging, and then to wear it in such an incredible interview. Nipsey been an inspiration to all of us.
I was gonna
say,
what I'm saying?
Like, and that's why I said marathon, because like he been a huge inspiration to me. Like my come up been super independent. So you know what I mean? I got a store like he does. He was always active in his community. That's what I try to do. And man, he kind of set the blueprint for a lot of us. So especially in LA, So
one of the things that I noticed on the album, man, Triumph, right? It sounds like to me, right? It sounds like the entry to Victory Lap.
Victory Lap.
It sounds just like it, and I'm like, I wonder if that was intentional or if that was just something that after cooking it up, it's like placing it on the album. It's like, okay, this feels right.
Yeah, well, this is how Scott Storch cooks up, right? Like he don't have like a beat pack to send you. Well, I shouldn't say he don't have it. He probably does have.
That's just not his
beats,
process to do it.
But that's not what he does. What you do is you go in the studio and you create, and it always starts with a conversation. And when we started working, it's funny you bring that up because like the first feature, I got a bunch of features on here, right? But the first one I was supposed to get, it was Nipsey.
Really?
You know what I'm saying? And this happened right around the time Victory Lap was the biggest thing. And for me, Victory Lap was by far my favorite album that year. What is it, 2018?
Yeah, 2018.
Yeah, so it was like towards the end of 2018 when we started cooking up with Scott, and I told him like, yo, I didn't say Victory Lap, but that was like what I was into a lot. And I was like, yo, I need this big movie.
Triumphant.
Triumphant, like intro. and it has to have that build up like a Dreams and Nightmares, but then when it drops, it's not like Dreams and Nightmares. It's more like a victory. Like that's kind of how it turned out. And yeah, a lot of people been telling me that it kind of reminds them of that. And I'm mad at it at all because that's one of my favorite like joints ever.
I love. It's a double-edged sword with comparing to me, right?
Sure.
Because I don't want to be offensive when I say it because I don't boxing an artist in or comparing one project to the next or one body of work to the next. But at the same time, it had that celebratory, it had that triumph, it had that cinematic sound.
Right.
And it's like when you have two bodies of work that sound like that, of course you're gonna have those comparisons in there.
Nah, for sure. I feel it's a big difference between copying, biting what they used to say, or like being influenced by it, or kind of creating and it kind of reminds you of that feeling that it gives you. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, when he made that beat, that's definitely the feeling I got, and I started writing to it. And when we laid it, we're like, yo, DJ Head said it too. When we played it, a lot of people didn't catch it, but certain people have said that. You know what I'm saying? But then we was in the studio, and my business partner, they from the cannabis world and everything, that opened a lot of doors for me. Like they introduced me to the Migos and YG. That's how all those collabs happened. But early on, we had just started working with Scott, and my man Alex was like, I'm mad cool with Nipsey and the whole team, right? Like I'm partners in the Marathon brand, the cannabis brand. I believe in the clothing too. So I was like, word? I'm like, Nip, like my favorite, but I never met him, nothing. Like, I'm just a fan. And he called him on the spot and kind of started talking about me, introduced me, and he was all ears to like hear, because they had a real close relationship, business relationship, not just, you know what I'm saying? So we made a track specifically for Nip to get on. That was going to be the first feature on the project. And man, it was like March, bro. And I was talking directly, not to Nip, I was talking to JP, Jorge.
Yep.
And I met Black Sam and everybody after the fact, unfortunately, but I sent him the song, and he was like, yo, Nip fucks with it. He's down to do it. And I was like, I'm trying to be in the studio if possible. I don't want just a verse sent to me, because this is part of my process. Like, of course, a lot of times there's no other choice, and it's fine. But if I can, I want to be in the studio with you. Offset, we was in the studio. YG, Quavo, Jeremiah, Nas, we all in the studio. So, and so Jorge's like, okay, bet, just hit me top of the week. We'll set it up for next week, bro. And that Sunday was that Sunday. You know what I'm saying?
Fucking kidding.
This is real. Like, I still have the text. It was Wednesday or Thursday when I was texting with him. And that Sunday he passed away. Like, literally, my man Alex set the whole thing up first. As soon as we saw that on TMZ, first call I got was Alex. He's like, bro, can you believe what just happened? I'm still staring at my phone like, nah, I really couldn't. You know what I'm saying? Like all of us. But that was where I was.
Jeez.
It's one of those things where you remember where you were.
You're going to definitely, you play that back. We all do that, man.
Yeah, man, crazy.
So
rest in peace.
Rest in peace for sure, Nip, man. And you talk about cooking up in the studio, and why is that such an important factor for you?
Man, there's a difference, bro. Like, just sending a verse, sometimes it works. Sometimes you don't feel the difference. But, when you in the studio with an artist, little comments or little things that you say to each other can lead to something big in the song. You know what I'm saying? A little ad-lib, you know what I'm saying? Like a small thing. So the chemistry is just different. You know what I'm saying? And each artist is different because some artists, especially, I'm obviously the smaller name. So some people are very, acknowledging of it. And some people are kind of like, you know what I mean? Like they act a little different. But for example, with Nas, which is like a dream come true that I did that song. But, I came out with the hook. So I start spitting it to him, and I go, whoo, blow out the candle of the devil. And by the second time I said that, he starts saying it with me already, like in there. He's like, yeah, that's it. He's like, we should say some of those parts together.
Wow.
So next thing you know, he goes, he lays his verse, and then he's like, yo, Mean, come in the booth. Let's do this hook together.
In the booth,
so
bro.
So now I'm in the booth next to Nas, who I just met. You know what I'm saying? It's wild. But I'm saying that would have never happened if I had created a song, sent it to him, he had laid his verse, probably would still be fire, but it wouldn't be this. Because now we together on the hook. It's just a different energy, you know what I mean?
So, but talk about that moment being in the booth with Nas. I mean, because it's one thing to cook in the studio, but for him to call you, hey man, come in here. Was that an oh shit moment for you? Had you done that before? Like,
nah, it was definitely because he can lay his part, I can lay my part separately. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But that just goes to see like. The whole Nas thing was crazy because, I've been the biggest Nas fan my whole life.
You had a project dedicated to Nas and M.
Exactly. That's like, I think that's the time I came to Homegrown back then. It's like 2017, 2016, bro. And it was like, you know, my career wasn't going nowhere. It was, you know, so I just one day decided I'm gonna do some mixtape. You know what I mean? Like I'm gonna just say who are like really my two, you know, influences really. Like favorites always change, but all time, it's always been Nas on top, and then M was just such a big influence on me. So I'm like, yo, I'm gonna do like a Nas and M tape, only Nas and M beats. First, it was just like rocking on their beats, not necessarily a tribute. But then towards the end of it, I'm like, yo, I'm gonna add an actual tribute as the last song, and it was called Letter to the King. Yeah, and I did first verse, I'm talking to Nas, second verse, I'm talking to M, and that song specifically got a lot of love. Like just when you put it online, all the blogs picked it up, everyone wrote like crazy reviews. This is incredible, this, that, two dope boys, hot new hip hop, you know what I mean? So we're like, all right, let's go shoot a video for it because everyone, you know, seems to fuck with it. Me and my boy, Kodo, we fly to New York, Queensbridge, go shoot a video, keep getting run up on. What y'all doing here?
I was just about to say, did you have any issues in New York, in Detroit?
New York wasn't as bad. I mean, this was a I wasn't like this, like, you know what I mean? Like, I still look fresh, like it was a video shoot. My man got the camera, I got the new J's on, but I didn't have no jewelry.
You didn't have a rapper kid.
Yeah, I didn't have all that yet. So, but yeah, a few people, they kept asking what y'all doing, but once, you know, we were like, one dude was like, let me hear, you know, a bunch of dudes came up, let me hear this tribute, you know what I mean? They wanted to make sure it's a tribute, because I'm in front of the Nas mural. So it was cool. Then we went to Detroit, did the same thing. Detroit was a little more like, yo, we got to get out of here.
Yeah,
like really, though. They really ran up on us like they wasn't feeling, it was a crazy energy, but damn near risked our lives for this, the bottom line, you know what I'm saying? But we got it out there and we just put it out. And this is like 2017 and like, damn, about 3 years passes. And then my man walks into Cookies on Melrose, Nas. He just walks into So Cookies on Melrose is owned by my man Alex that I just spoke about. Right. And a bunch of the stores. You know, he's your big dog in the cannabis world, but that store specifically has a lot of artists come through, but no one expects Nas to walk in just as a customer, you know what I mean? So he walks in and, you know, my boy Alex, you know, obviously welcomes him and stuff, and he's like, yo, with all due respect, there's this one song you really need to hear. And apparently Nas was like all ears. He's like, yeah, let's go. He was mad cool about it. So he just played it on his phone, and I have no idea any of this is happening, so next thing you know, I get a FaceTime, I'll pick up, and it's Nas. Nas is holding the phone.
Get the fuck out of here, bro.
I swear, like literally, I'm like, oh shit. It was the first 2 words that came out of my mouth, like, oh, you know what I'm saying? And he's like, hey, what's up, bro? And I'm like, he's like, I just heard that song. And I'm again, that was 3 years prior. In that moment, didn't even click. Like, what song? I had all these new songs. I just started working with Scott. He's like, the one you did for me and M.
You know the song.
Yeah,
man.
He's like, the one you did for me and M. I'm like, oh man, I'm so happy you finally heard it. He's like, nah, that shit did something to me right now. And he's pointing at his chest like this, you know? I'm like, wow. And then he, you know, we chopped it up shortly. I told him we had just started working with Scott. Again, this was early on. I didn't really have no other names to drop or anything, but he just felt the energy. Like he told me later on, like me, my team, like we talked about earlier, like he was 3 days later, he came to the studio. And that's why.
That quick?
3 days later. That was a Wednesday. I always remember because Thursday was Thanksgiving and Saturday he came to the studio. And again, I didn't have a record ready because obviously I wasn't prepared for this. And Scott ain't got no beats to send me, so it's all cooked up on the spot. Wow. So my own thing was like, yo, Nas is coming to this is my opportunity of a lifetime, but it gotta be the right song.
Man.
Because, you know, we all make mediocre stuff sometimes. It just
happens.
Depends.
It just happens.
Everyone does.
Yeah, nobody bats 1,000.
Right, exactly. So right on the spot, I'm just thinking like, you know, what we gonna do? So I went to the studio a couple hours before Nas gonna come. Scott's like, pull up, don't bring no entourage. It's just me, you, and his co-producer. Let's just make the beat. Yeah. Make sure it's what you want. You know what I'm saying? But once he got that beat, all my nerves went away. Like, oh, okay, this is exactly for what I would want to do with Nas. It was like the perfect, you know what I'm saying? He nailed it as far as like our vision was aligned, you know what I'm saying? And then Nas came through. Yeah, and the vibe was just so cool. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm just curious because it's like, you said it so beautifully, bro. Like the nerves that you had was not the fact that you couldn't rise to the occasion. Right. It was just like, okay, I want this to be right. And the presentation has to be right. The beat has to be right for me to do my thing. And the nerves all went away once that
the beat was right. And then my next thing was like, I got to get a hook right because, okay, we can lay verses. And I know I'm going to do my thing on the bars. You know what I mean? Like, this is Nas, but I know I can hold my own at least. You know what I'm saying? But are we just going to rap about rapping or what is it going to be? Because I know, you know what I mean? I'm an introspective kind of dude. I like to make records about things. So, you know, once he came, he's like, you got a concept yet? I didn't have one yet. I'm like, not yet. I just, when the hook doesn't come to me right away, I just start writing a verse, like write down some bars and it'll come. I try not to panic, like chill, just let it go, let the energy go. You know what I'm saying?
But hold on, let's sit right there for a second. Normally, yes, you don't panic, but you never just have Nas just pull up to the studio, bro.
But I remember telling myself, like, nah, it's cool, just like, you know what I mean, let the process be the way it is. And I could tell from his energy that he wasn't rushing, he wasn't there. Some rappers be in there 15, 20 minutes.
Like, what you got? Let's go. What we doing?
Go.
Yeah.
I'm doing you a favor. Like, he didn't have that kind of energy. Like, he came in there really acknowledging me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I spit the little bit of a few bars that I had written. He's like, cool, I know what to do. So we both kind of like writing in our own corners. And then when the hook came to me, I went up to him. But before I tell him, like, I got the hook, he's like, yo, let me spit to you the first few bars that I got. Let me know if you like it. This is what I'm saying. Like, he was really acknowledging me as an equal.
Right.
I mean, we're nowhere near equal, but you know what I'm saying?
That's fire, though,
but you
bro.
feel me? Like, exactly. That's the energy it was. So he had like 8 to 10 bars at the time. And I'm like, it's amazing. What you want me to say?
What you gonna say? Like,
but it really was amazing.
Let me ask you this though: had it not been good, could you tell Nas in that moment, "Nah, I'm cool"? Like,
honestly,
can you switch this up?
I don't think so. I'm gonna keep it 100. I can be tough right here and say, yeah, I would have told him, nah.
That's fair.
In that moment, first time I met him, like he coming over there. This is Nas, bro. Like, nah, I don't think so. But at the same time, I know it wouldn't have been whack though.
Right,
you know what I'm
it's
saying?
Nas.
I mean, maybe there's levels to like, but the first bar already, he comes in, he's like, they mad till you give them a bag, friendly extortion. I'm like, it's already
That's
over.
it.
Like,
That's it.
come on, man. Like, it's
Lay
some
that.
real Nas.
Lay that.
So, but then I spit the hook, and then all that happened. You know what I'm saying? So then he finished his verse, went in the booth, and called me in the booth, and the whole thing was like it kept getting better. Like the story kept getting crazier. You know what I'm saying?
How has that helped you elevate as an artist, as an MC? Just to collaborate with not only Scott Storch but Nas like that in that real time, in that moment, man. I mean, I know that not only has to be an incredible feeling, but not an ego booster, but more of a confidence booster. Like, okay,
for sure,
I got
man.
this.
Like, we all, as rappers, we all say we nice. I'm the illest. This, that. Like, yeah, I know I'm good at what I do, but these things still matter. It's validation, especially like MCs like myself. Like, we grew up wanting that validation from certain legends. You know what I mean? Like, it means a lot. And Nas is like top of that list, you know what I'm saying? So for him and then after that, it's been dope because he's been like embracing us as far as like me and my team. Every time he has like an event, King's Disease won a Grammy. We was over there. He had like with Hit Boy. That's how I met Hit Boy too. Hit Boy met me as one of Nas's boys. Like, it's almost wild,
crazy,
right? Even though we from LA, like out here, but I had never met Hit Boy. Hit Boy mad cool too, and all his people. So every time King's Disease 2, 3, whatever, every time they had like a little gathering. We was in the Vegas for the Grammys. We was there, you know what I mean? And Nas always like showing love, keeps telling me how nice I am. It's crazy. I don't even know what to say when he keeps saying that. I'm like, yo, thank you. Like, you know what I'm saying? So just showing love, bro. And it means a lot for sure.
That's so dope, man. Again, not only to have that moment, but again, I'm just going to double back on the type of person that you are for you to have that moment. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that's been working at your craft for so many years. A lot of people would dream to have this kind of opportunity, and so for you to get it and knock it out the park, it's like, yes, man, the good guys get it. You know what I'm saying?
I appreciate that, bro. Nah, it was definitely an actual dream come true. You know what I mean? And that's something, honestly, that even Nas said one time at one of these events. He came over to like where we was at, and he's like, yo, I just want y'all to know, like, I fuck with y'all. Like, as people, it wasn't even about me as a rapper. You know what I mean? He's like, first time I met you, I knew. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all solid. Y'all move like real G's. Like, these are quotes he was saying to us. So we just like, they're like, thank you. Like, you know what I mean? But that means a lot because that's how we move. You know what I mean? So, like, people, it's just proof that people feel that and recognize that. You know what I'm saying?
Now, on the Rising Sun, you say, you mentioned something about moving in the room with icons, bro. You know what I'm saying? And you're talking about these stories, and these things are now natural. It's normal for you, man. Give some tips to people that aren't as fortunate and would love to be in those moments, man. What do you do? How do you prepare yourself? Like, give some people some tips to networking. The thing is,
first of all, let me say that bar, because that shit kind of hard. I learn how to move in a room full of pythons till I started moving into rooms full of icons. You know what I mean? But like, people be focused on the wrong thing, right? Because they be in a room with all these celebrities, and the first thing they thinking is like, yo, I need to get a picture, get a look for the gram, this, that. Like, I ain't asked Nas for a picture since the studio. You know what I'm saying? I've been in his
Hence the
dressing
Python
room.
line, striking at the wrong moment.
I've been in his dressing room, like, yo, if there's a camera guy that he brought in and they happen to capture us, I be telling the guy, yo, please send that to me. But these are the type of things, like, people like they acknowledge that, like, yo, like, they don't want to be. They want to feel like we homies now, like we a person. Like, don't think of, it'll come. That picture will come. More opportunities will come. It's all about the right time. So that's really it. Like, just be yourself. You know what I'm saying? And I don't try to, like, ask for nothing. Just, like, be cool. You know what I'm saying?
Provide that
and
value.
people it's all about the energy, bro. Like, vibe and energy is so real. Let the universe handle it.
Where does that sense of character come from? Like, is this something that you've known for your whole life, or is it something you learned over time? Is that something that you learned from moms? Like, how did that get embedded?
That's a
in
good
you?
question. I don't know. I think I learned over time, probably. You know what I'm saying? Like, as you kind of mature and be in these situations more, you definitely learn. You know what I'm saying? It's probably been mad opportunities I didn't, act the wrong way, the right way. I don't know. I think it just kind of, I kind of learned from, like, observing and studying the game. You know what I mean? I study a lot. When I say study, is like I watch a lot of interviews, up and coming artists, legends, anybody, like people I'm interested in, and I see, like, what they doing. Like, I just, you know what I mean? I see how they speak, how they, even when I'm in the room with people, how people carry themselves. You know what I mean? I be watching. I'm not really a talker. People know me as a super introvert. You know what I'm saying? I've become a little bit better at socializing as you get older and mature. I used to be the quiet kid in class, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, How
I was gonna say, how was that, the transition of, because this is the entertainment business. You have to speak up. You're the face of a company. You're the face of your brand. So was that a tough transition?
Around the time I met you, it was, you remember my manager Tina? Like, she used to always drag me out. No, we gotta go.
Yeah,
I ain't trying to go nowhere. No, you gotta go. She'll we'll meet people. She doing all the talking. I'm just kind of standing there. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then I slowly learned to, like, I guess it's a confidence thing too. We always say we introverted, but it has a lot to do with your confidence and what is it called? Self-conscious. You know what I'm saying? Like, we artists, bro. Like, artists are a little bit different sometimes, wired different. But I've learned that, like, yo, like, I'm here, bro. I belong here. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
knowing
just,
that.
you know what I mean? Knowing that you belong there and you deserve it, and just be you. I still don't super talk a lot, but
talk
I can hold a conversation when I have to.
When
the
moment's right, when you got to.
Yeah.
Now, when you first rapping, were these things, working with Nas, getting in there with legendary producers, having a super stacked lineup that's on me? Did you have these thoughts of getting to this moment one day?
I mean, look, I guess we all do, right? That's why I believe in myself enough to, like, be crazy enough. I always say, like, be delusional enough to, like, I'm Armenian. I was born in LA, but I was raised in Amsterdam in the Netherlands. I lived there for the first 18 years of my life, then moved back. So, like an Armenian kid from the Netherlands. You know what I mean? Like, what are you thinking? Like, you know what I'm saying? Right now, I'm getting a lot of coverage from, like, Netherlands media, like the first Dutch rapper doing all of this. Then I'm getting all kinds of coverage, obviously first Armenian rapper doing this. And then there's this thing where, like, Armenians are spread all over the world. So my parents are actually from Iran. That's a whole nother story I won't bore you with. But like a lot of people, like first Persian rapper doing this. I'm Persian Armenian.
So you scratch.
I'm telling you because like, yeah, I was crazy enough to like believe in myself. But at the same time, I never thought it would actually happen until it happened. Like I couldn't believe it actually happened.
Is it a sense of responsibility now that, again, look, these things that are being checked off the list, you are the face, you know, that people are looking at. It's like, okay, I have something to do, because I see you very, you know, even when we met, you the 1915, the open wounds, you blessed me with that merch and just everything that you're about. I see every year, you know, around this time, April 24th, right?
Exactly, man.
You're always on the news, just advocating for your community, and I think that's super important.
I always thought that's important too. Sorry to cut you off. Like, you know, hip hop is, to me, always been, you know, the voice of the people, the voice of the streets. So me coming in from outside of the culture, but such a hip hop kid, like, you know, I got to make it my own in a way. So I'm like, I got to tell the story of my people, you know what I mean? And just really be who I am and talk about, you know, what me and my community went through and go through, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah.
What's been the most touching story or incident that you've heard from your community? It's like, damn, okay, I'm making an impact.
Nah, this whole open wounds thing. So I did a song called Open Wounds. That's how it started, which was basically about the Armenian genocide. But really, I like to say it's really about crimes against humanity, right? And that's why, and then we made those shirts with it, and that's why I feel like it reached so many people because everybody was relating to it. Like, oh, okay, same thing you just said. Like, I feel like so important you do that. You know what I mean? You show me love doing that. Everybody has been embracing that. But in our own community, you know, the younger generations, because I started going to all the schools around LA, including a lot of Armenian schools. You know, they have like Armenian private schools and things like that. And parents would come up to me, I'm talking about tears in their eyes, like, yo, because of you, my son, daughter, whatever, like cares about this. They want to wear this shirt. They want to come on April 24th to this protest. They're asking us about the history. Because, you know, when I moved to LA, you know, I never grew up around Armenians, by the way, because again, I was in Netherlands. There was no Armenians there. Came to LA, it was kind of a culture shock. Like, all of a sudden everyone's Armenian, you know what I'm saying? And but I was always taught about this history and things like that. So I was always involved, and I used to go to these rallies and candlelight vigils and things. And to be honest with you, I was bored. It was always like politicians talking. You know, it wasn't presented in a way that a young 18-year-old would really care about. You know what I'm saying? So that's when I had just started doing music. And one day I was like, yo, I got to do a song about this. Now, every rally, every protest, every candlelight vigil, they're asking me to perform. And I'm rapping. And I'm really rapping, too. You know what I'm saying? So it's capturing, like, the younger audience. So it's not only going to, like, the outside community, which is the most important thing, is spreading the message, but it's also empowering the youth in our own community. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I take, again, and this is just how my brain is wired, but what I look at it as, are you familiar with Earn Your Leisure?
No.
Okay, so they're advocates for financial literacy, right? Shouts out to Troy, Rashad, Ian, dope individuals, right? But they speak the language of financial literacy in a way that, you know, hip hop can embrace.
We can understand.
And they've been you know, blowing up over the last 3 or 4 years because it's like they're doing, you know, huge events, having dope conversations, but it's making people now, like, their eyes are open to not to say that people weren't before, but it's like, okay, damn, now I want to
understand it.
They understand it. They speak the language.
It's someone that looks like you, talks like you, and tells you in a way that you understand it. That's so real. I think I heard the name, but I wasn't really sure what it was. Yeah, man. That's very important.
It reminds me of that, and I'm so glad that you're using your platform in that way and continue to do that. Now, I seen something where you was it opening up for 50 in Armenia? It was your first time performing out there?
First time. Like, again, like Armenians, because of the Armenian genocide, we spread all over the world, right? We like what's called a diaspora nation. So there's more of us outside the actual country than in the country. So a lot of us never even been there, or we go on vacation. So I went one time in like the early 2000s. That was my first time just visiting. And then I hadn't been there until 2015. I went one time. But never as an artist. I never went to perform. You know what I'm saying? And even like Armenians all over the world know me, but you know, I'm like lyrical. So like you got to understand English to really get my music. So I didn't really know if people in Armenia really know me. So, but then I got that call, you know, 50 doing a show there, by the way, was the first time any major artist, not only hip hop, like there is no concerts like that in a country like Armenia. Like, we gotta understand, it's a third world country. Like, there's a lot of things, you know what I mean? It's getting better every year, but it ain't, you know what I mean? When I went in the early 2000s, it was electricity and water was only a few hours a day. Oh my God. Like, it's a whole different world. You know what I mean? Like, it was another shock. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we had to take a shower during these hours because then there's no running water after that. At night, everything is pitch black on the streets. You know what I mean? And this is the 2000s. Like, this is like modern day times. You know what I'm saying? So this is a different type of country. So when they announced like 50 Cent is going there, it was like the biggest thing for the whole country. You know what I'm saying? And then they hit me up to like open up. So yeah, it was like definitely a dream come true because I performed for the first time there, and it was for 50. It was like 25,000 people, and they knew my music, which I wasn't sure. As soon as I stepped on stage, people went crazy, which was fire. Jeez. You know what I'm saying?
So Rolling Loud was a bigger stage than that, though, right? Or is it
Rolling Loud is a bigger stage, but not the time slot they put me on. You know what I'm saying? Got you. We the newer artists, so I did Rolling Loud. I did Miami, LA, and New York last year. Miami was when I went on. It was easy, like 10,000 people already. Yeah. New York was trash. not New York is not trash. Don't get
No,
me
I-
wrong,
no, I
but
get you.
like
Yeah,
when
the
I went
time
on,
slot,
they had
yeah.
me super early,
Right.
and it was like Halloween weekend. It was super cold.
Yeah.
It was so cold outside. There was only like a few hundred people there, so it wasn't what people think. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And then LA was kind of in between. It was great, but it wasn't Miami. But yeah, but for me, the biggest crowd was actually 50 Cent in Armenia. And
That-
I've opened up for a lot of people, but
Yeah.
25,000 is a lot.
That's crazy. It's a full circle moment that the
circle for
biggest
sure.
stage that you've been on
Yeah.
to this present moment, because I feel like bigger and better is happening for you. And we're going to laugh at these moments, in a few
Word.
years. Like, yeah, I remember, with those performances that I had. But I think about messages and just how what God has placed you on this earth to do, and those signs and those significant moments that you're having in your life and in your career that's letting you know, you're here for a reason. It's a purpose, bro.
Nah, for sure. And as independent artists slowly coming up, like we need those moments to keep us going. You know what I'm saying? But that was a very special moment because, again, like I had never performed there. I performed Open Wounds on that stage in that country, which was very, very special. I performed everywhere else, but I hadn't performed it there. You know what I'm saying? So, because that's kind of became like an anthem in our community, that song. So yeah.
Pentagon Records, man. Talk to me about this. Talk to me about the brand. I mean, again, I've been blessed to see the storefront, right? But talk to me about the record label. Like, do you have other artists that sign to you? What's the plan moving forward?
We have a couple artists we're working with, not officially signed. Honestly, we didn't want to tie no one down while everyone is focused on me.
Gotcha.
It's a small team, you know what I'm saying?
smart.
But we try to take artists with us and give them looks and perform with me on Rolling Loud, or like, you know what I mean? When I'm in these rooms, they with me and they meeting Chuck Dizzle and DJ Head, and you know what I'm saying? Like I can introduce them to people and slowly build those relationships. You know what I mean? Things like that. That's the stage we in right now.
Gotcha.
Of course, the vision is big, you know what I mean, when we get there. And then, the clothing really, that started kind of early for me, like, because I started getting a lot of love in my community. So we started, selling merch, and that's really what kept us in the game, you know what I mean? And it went from online to, like, having, like, a little kiosk at the mall to, like, having our store.
That's fire, dude.
But then, the store is also just where we work. The studio's in the back. We kind of remodeled recently and did a grand opening. We partnered up with this brand Classics and brought sneakers in now.
Nice.
So yeah, it's a vibe. You know what I mean? We got a little film studio, psych wall, and things where we shoot content. So it's like kind of our headquarters.
One-stop shop, man. Everything, and I'm sure it's easier for you to kind of just have everything there instead of having to worry about book studio time. Go here, go
for
there.
Sure,
You know
for sure.
what I mean?
Like I used to book like studios for photo shoots and things like that, and we're like, we got the space. Let's just make it useful,
Can an artist be signed to another artist these days? I hear this conversation all the time, and I'm glad you mentioned that. The reason why you're not really kind of going in that direction that's super hard is because, people are focused on you at this moment.
Right.
A lot of people make that mistake and they think that, I can put attention to an artist and, that ends up not working.
Right. Because, it's, I'm an artist myself and I know what it takes and I know how important it is to me. So I don't want to play with nobody's dream and nobody's life like that. You know what I'm saying? If I feel I really have the resources and can really do it, 100%, you know what I'm saying? I'm always looking, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel like it's going to happen sooner than later because the resources have become crazy. The relationships have become crazy. I could take an artist to a major label. I could set up meetings if that's what we want to do. Like, I can do these things now. But yeah, the vision right now, signing to an artist, it just depends, bro. Like, I feel like some of the biggest artists in the world have been signed to artists, but it just depends who, you know what I'm saying? Like, but if we really look at the biggest guys, you know what I'm saying? Like Drake and Nicki was signed to Wayne, and Cole was signed to Jay, and like Meek was signed to Ross,
50
and
M,
and everybody. It's almost like maybe they gotta be very established already. You know what I'm saying? That's probably the key.
Yeah.
And very confident, so they're not scared of the other person shining. You know what I'm saying? But in a way, it's like if you don't have that cosign, it's also difficult to be accepted. You know what I'm saying? Like, because again, these same people. French was through Diddy, and like, we can go on, and Kendrick was with Dre, and like, what if those cosigns weren't there?
Right.
Is it the same? You know what I mean? Because I remember oh, Dr. Dre signed his new kid Kendrick. Like,
Right.
who's this, right?
Right.
Or Jake, who's just J. Cole? Jay-Z just signed him as the first artist to Rock Nation. Like,
Right.
you know, all of us do that. You know what I'm saying? So Nas signed Dave East. I check him out right away. Like, you know what I mean? So that helps. You know what I mean? Boogie signed to Eminem or like Reason with
true.
TDE. All of
Yeah,
these
yeah.
affiliations matter. TDE may not an artist, but you know what I'm
Yeah, I
saying? It's
get
a
it.
brand. So it's a gift. I don't know. It's a gift and a curse, bro. I've learned that every situation and every artist and everything is just unique in its own way. You know what I'm saying?
Man, there's a lot we can kind of cover, man. I do want to talk about the album again. Mean is out right now again,
Yes, sir.
produced entirely by Scott Storch. You got, man, I want to hear about this. How'd you get Offset and Quavo on the project? You mentioned your boy Alex, right?
Yes, my boy from the cannabis world, he introduced me to all three of the Migos.
Oh man.
So first he introduced it was separate, Offset, and then it was Quavo, and then I don't remember how I met all of them, but Offset was definitely first, and the relationship they had was crazy. So he's like, yo, this is how he introduced me. Like, yo, this is really our guy. Like, meaning not just my boy, but in our community. Like, this is the one. And we got records. We got Scott Storch producing. Like, this ain't no bubblegum, like, movement. Like, check us out. And Offset was like, well, send me a record. You know what I'm saying? We send him a record, and he's like, oh, this fire. So he came to the studio to do that record. And then I played him another one after he did it, and he walked right in the booth and did that one too. We only put one on this album. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's how like it happened. And similar with Quavo, you know, he came to the studio and he did it. And I had a short talk with Takeoff one time at one of these events that Quavo was having. I'm like, yo, Take, you the only
Well,
Migo
that's
I don't
not
have
on
a
the
record
album.
with yet. Not even on this album, just like I don't have a record with yet.
gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? He's like, what we doing, bro? Send me something, you know? And I never did, you know? I kind of like lagged on that opportunity because I felt like I didn't have the right record, you know? That's another thing. Like, I don't want to just send you just anything.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I wasn't really ready for that. And then, you know, this is just how you see like things happen. Like, it's insane. Like, you know what I mean?
man.
Like, life is short and you got to enjoy every moment and take every opportunity as they come. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Yalla Habibi, right?
Yes, sir.
Did I say it right?
Yup.
I remember you premiered the record with Cruz over here, man,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
just that big of a moment. I just remember being so proud because I'm like, look, and no shot, no nothing. You the homie, right? But I was like, oh, this is a record. He has a record now. We know
I
you as
understand.
far as spitting, right?
I know.
And
That's
I've
not a
seen
shot.
and I've seen you come to the station plenty of times, do interviews, and I'm just like, yes, he has
Mm-hmm.
a record and he understands like what this is about, right? And so, how did that actually come about?
That's the thing. Like, this is how I learned that's how it works. Because I always had joints, but
Yeah.
it was more, you know, hip hop joints, street joints,
Which
whatever.
is for the record, there's nothing wrong with that,
There's
right?
nothing wrong with that, and people make whole careers off that and have their core fan base, but I understand the difference. And really, it's production for me. Like, I felt like I always had the potential, but I didn't know, you know, me going through YouTube, finding beats, I know that wasn't going to do it for me. It might work for other people. But Scott Storch really elevated me as far as, like, not by telling me, but just by making the beats, I started realizing, yo, this is like different level. Like, I got to step it up. I got to rap crazy, but at the same time, I got to make records. It's not all about the craziest raps and bars and, you know what I mean, complicated rhyme schemes, because that's kind of how I came up originally.
Of course.
So my songwriting started getting way better. And the French joint was just like, one day I thought to myself, I got to do a record called Yalla Habibi. Yalla Habibi is actually not Armenian, it's an Arabic thing. But, you know, our cultures intertwine a lot. And, like, if you go to, like, an Armenian wedding, party, things like that, there's always Arabic music, there's Armenian music, it's mixed in. And there's songs called Yalla Habibi. It really means, like, yeah, let's go, baby, let's go get it.
Okay.
Like, you know what I mean? Habibi is like a term of endearment.
Okay.
I could say it to a guy, a girl, you know what I mean? And then Yalla is like, yo, let's go get it.
Got it.
But it's just a term that's used often. So I'm like, yo, song Yalla Habibi will be fire. So I did it myself with, like, a demo hook. And then we're like, yo, if we can get French on this, it'd be over, because he's Moroccan.
Got it. So that's
He
that
speaks
tied in,
Arabic.
for sure.
You know what I'm saying? It's more of a cultural angle. Do you know who Tubby is? Sean Holiday?
I know Sean Holiday.
Yeah, Sean Holiday. Tubby is his nickname.
Okay, no,
So-
I didn't know his name.
Yeah. So, you know, he was a big executive at Capitol. He was managing Big Dog, where he manages Cardi B and Offset now. He manages Travis Scott when I met him. So he been really supportive, and just so he connected the dots for us on that. He introduced me to the French, the whole EXO team, and like we made it happen. You know what I mean?
Bro, man. So I mean, at this point, again, the album's out right now. How has been the reception from the people from your perspective? Like now that it's here, because I know you've been sitting on it, you've been holding it. Now you know the album is here now. What are you? What are your thoughts? How are you feeling? What is the reception? From
Honestly, the reception has been kind of what I expected, bro. Like I've never been this confident. That's why I've been having these, like, before I dropped it, I was having these like listening sessions. Like I said, Head pulled up,
right.
you know, Bootleg Head pulled up, all these DJs, all the industry people, whatever. Because, you know, when Head pulled up, it was funny because I had hit him same way I hit you, but you know, he came through, and you know, I pressed play. First, I played the intro. And he's like, "Damn, that's fire." You know what I mean? Then I think second, I played Yalla Habibi. He's like, "Okay, damn, that's fire, bro." You know what I mean? We talked about that song a little bit. By the time I played the third song, he's like, "Hold on, you really playing some shit right now, bro." And this is DJ Head. We all know how he is.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yo, I didn't expect all this. Like, I thought I was gonna come here," and I'm like, "I know you was expecting some mediocre." He's like, "Yeah, I was expecting to hear some mid." You know what I'm saying? I'm like, "Bro, I know I got it right now because like I always knew it was in me, but I have the product to show you now." You know what I'm saying? And that's honestly been the feedback. Like, bro, it's next level, because like just the overall, like, I don't know, I feel like it's undeniable, bro, to keep it 100. Like, I'm not even the guy to sit here and say, yo, I got the album of the year, I'm the illest in the world. You know, I know a lot of rappers talk like that, but I don't know an album that's as good as this one this year so far, bro. It's May, early May right now. It's still, you know, a lot of months to go. But nah, this album is crazy, bro. And even with all these features, this is another thing actually Head said, and this is what I've been hearing all week, is like, yo, how you not getting lost in all these features? You use them right, you know what I'm saying? And you got the best out of each one. And that's kind of, I guess, my A&R ear. Like, you know what I mean? I was in there thinking like, okay, if Offset's coming through, or if this person coming, you know what I mean? Like, I think this one, or let's make something like this, or like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I really worked it in a way that I feel like I was still me, but I'm rapping next to Nas, then I'm rapping next to Quavo. That's very different worlds.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I was able to find that balance. And, you know, I got to credit Scott Storch a lot for that.
Yeah, and with YG on there too, Jeremiah. I mean,
YG. YG song is a banger. Jeremiah record, King James, we dropped that a couple years ago, so I put that on there as a bonus track because it was part of those sessions.
And it's perfect timing right now.
Perfect timing, bro.
You like,
we
yes.
Going crazy.
Like, come on.
And actually, over here driving, I told my man Z, I opened my Apple Music and it popped up on my #1 song. I'm like, hey, it popped back up. It's my highest streamed song. It's almost like 5 million on Spotify, but like, it popped back up because it's Lakers season right now. You know what I mean? Shout out King James, baby. Yeah.
Armin, man, I like to ask this question. I want to hear your input on this, man. The year can't end without you doing what? Now that you've had all of these things, there's a lot of accomplishments. You talked about some fire moments. What are you thinking now forward from here? The year can't end without Armin doing what?
Man, the year can't end without me being on a tour. Well, I'm doing my own show. I don't know when this is going to air because the show's tomorrow, but I'm doing the Roxy, which is like a big accomplishment.
Yeah,
that we're going to pack that show. You know, this album for me is kind of like a statement of like, I'm really here. But this definitely ain't it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know this is a content game and people's attention is not going to be on this album forever. So I'm ready to keep going this year. Just level up, bro, in every part of my life. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like the beginning of this year, 2023, I have certain goals for myself, not only with music, and I'm like, focus, you know what I'm saying? I tweeted not that long ago, I'm like, yo, I'm going Kobe mode, you know what I'm saying? I'm putting that alarm early, I'm taking care of myself, you know what I'm saying? Just level up in every aspect of my life. Yeah,
well, I love it, man. I'm proud of you. I want to see you continue to reach these heights and still have these moments because, again, I feel like your purpose is bigger, right?
Thank you, bro.
And your voice carries and people are listening to it and the intent is pure. So anytime, you know, I can be a platform for you, bro. And I'm glad we made it happen this go round. And,
definitely.
You know,
nah, this was the right time, bro. I really appreciate you, bro.
Yeah, anytime,
my man. You've been supporting a long time.
My brother.
Real shit.
Armin. We live and direct. Chuck Dizzle, Armin. Keep it at homegrown,
sir.
of course, man. And we'll catch y'all next time.